So we're just at the point now of just hitting the whole car with 80 grit, just lightly going over it before we put paint stripper on it. But as you can see, we've taken all the bars and the lights, door handles have come off. She's looking pretty bare. So here we go, let's get stuck into the body. So here we go, most of it has been, has had paint stripper applied to it. Obviously it didn't work quite as well on the doors as it did when it was on the boot lid. Now, it's probably because when it's on a flat surface, you've got the stuff just laying down there and, eating away, but on things like side panels where gravity wants to pull it down, it doesn't hang on as long. I could have possibly put some sheets over it when we had the paint stripper on there and it would have heated up a lot quicker, but it's going to make it a lot easier when we go to sand this next, which we'll hit it with 80 grit, and it'll rip through it very quickly, just like it did with the boot lid. So it looks like here, just by the looks of this, you can see that green, which was similar green to this green. Looks like the whole car was painted in whatever colour they painted them in, green obviously in this case, and then they did the roofs afterward in white. Which, if that's the case, is kind of surprising. I would have thought they would have just gone white straight over the roof, but who knows? That's probably how they did it. So it's coming along. At the same time, we're doing this. We're doing mechanical work on it. We're really tearing into this thing now. I just want to really get it all finished. So now on to the next stage. So we've got this far now, as far as stripping back paint, and these areas are getting harder. When we did the boot and the hood, we used paint stripper first, and it was relatively easy to then sand the remainder off. But these sections are a little bit tougher, and because as we're discovering, especially with the quarters, they have been painted before, so a lot of body filler in here. It was a huge amount, and you can probably see why. Look at all those ripples in the guard lip, especially around the lip. There's some knocks around here, so this has been hit here in the past. And the other side probably doesn't look it, but it's actually worse. It's taken quite a big hit around here. There was, I would say, 5 mils worth of body filler coming across this whole panel. And you can see this line here is like a big crease. So we'll have to go on the inside later on the quarter panel and knock as much of this out as possible. You know, using body filler is unavoidable. We're not going to caress the metal back to perfectness. But yeah, 5 mils worth of body filler, that's not the way to go. it's just going to end up coming through, cracking in years to come. This we already knew about, but I've got a clear picture of what we're going to do here. We're going to just rebuild this whole section with new steel. So it's taking a while. The roof's coming along. So we're getting very, very deep into stripping the paint off this thing. Now, a lot of dust around here. I mean, look at these areas here. I mean, it's caved in there. I mean, you know, it's just a little bit of rust. That's no big deal. We can put a patch there. But here, as I'm digging into this, you know, this is heading towards 5 mil of body filler in here, and it's probably in this whole area. I mean, you know, this is not the way to fix a panel. I suppose it's like, yeah, when it's painted as we had it before, when there was paint over here, we'd never have thought that this was sort of stuff was in the doors. It's amazing what's revealed when the paint's been removed. So we'll end up doing this properly. We'll make patch panels wherever we've got to make them, and just replace the steel. That's going to be the easiest thing. But the answer is not just throwing body filler in it like that. So we're using a plastic wheel brush to get into this. Now this is a rotary polisher. So obviously we can't finish with this. We have to go back in with a dual action with 80 of the steel later. But it's just, this rips into all the garbage. Would just be, yeah, it halves the amount of time. So I'm just going to get stuck into this piece here, and I'll just show you how deep this is. Now look through here, maybe from this angle, that's heading towards 10 mil of body filler. You see where the panel is, where the damage part is. I mean, that's insane. So if we just leave it like this and paint over it, I'd give that, I don't know, a couple of years to start cracking through. Yeah, just insane. So that's the progress so far. What do you think, Joel? Is this like the best part of the job?
It's not the worst part.
Hey?
It's not the worst part.
No, it's not. Actually, it is kind of enjoyable, but it just takes so long. So this is the end of another day of doing nothing but sanding. And all we've got left is just that beaver panel down the bottom there, which is actually broken on one end, but looks like the whole thing is one piece. So we've just got to get the paint off that and work out what we're going to do there. But this whole side of the car has now been done, including the sill panel underneath. And yeah, you end up uncovering all sorts of truths like this that you just couldn't see before. So we're going to have to remake that whole lower section there. Now you can actually buy those panels, but we'll probably just make it in sections, including that back door. As you can see, that front guard's got a nice old crease in the front. There was a lot of body filler there as well. It's probably about, well, would have been more than 5 mil of body filler in there. And there's the odd ding every now and then. You know, dings, small things like that, you can fit in with body filler. That's fine. That's what it's made for. But when you've got large dented sections like that, and that quarter panel, you know, you need to spend a bit of time knocking them out, because you want to minimise your body filler, not put a whole heap in there. But you know, it's all about taking pride in what you do, and we want to do this thing right. Now, we're not doing a full concourse restoration on this car. We're not even doing a full restoration. Originally, I just wanted to get it, clean it all up, get it running mechanically like new, and put some new paint in it, and you know, get it going. But it's just turning out to be a bigger and bigger job as we go along. And I'm the sort of person that doesn't just like slapping lipstick on a pig, which is what has happened here in the past. So I'd rather do it properly. But yeah, as you can see, so once we've sanded off the paint, we wash it with vinegar water, which seals it. It's not a permanent thing, but it does stop it from rusting, so you can leave it like this for a little while. So this is where we've ended up for the week. As you can see, it's been completely washed off with vinegar water. That's what's turned all that goldy colour. So what's going to happen now is we're going to be attacking this car from two different directions, mechanically and the body at the same time. Soon I'm picking up a bearing, a carrier bearing on the thrust fork for the gearbox, which is the reason why I believe it's not changing gears probably, because originally these cars had a 3-prong clutch, and this has now got a diaphragm clutch, but I believe the carrier needs to be an extended carrier to push that diaphragm all the way in, because the original 3-prong clutches are taller. So now it hasn't got the travel, so I believe that's why it's not changing gears properly, so we're going to sort that out. Okay, just push the clutch pedal up and down. The problem we're having with this car is it's not disengaging in gear and going into gear without crunching itself. And I've got a feeling this is the wrong clutch type in here, even though it's a new clutch. I don't think that clutch plate. Just go down and stay down, Joel. Oh, now it's separating. Okay, up, down, go up, go down. So here's the underside of the boot lid, and we've just been cleaning. We're scuffing the bottom, this underside, to paint this. We're not going to bring this back to bare metal because it was actually not too bad. The other side is bare metal, but what we've exposed here just by some wire wheeling is all these little holes of rust. So we've got to remanufacture a piece in here, and that coincides with the rust on the other side. So we're going to make the other side as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to flip this over now and make our first patch panel over here. So here's the boot lid flipped over. Now this is how I like to make my patch panels. I'm just using some kind of thick cardboard paper or whatever this is. So what we want to do, I'll just lift this off for a sec. We can see how much we've got to make. So we just want to go from about here to the end, obviously. And you can see how the boot has got a curvature to it. It's probably not completely flat across the bottom, and it's got a bit of a curvature coming this way. So that's why I use kind of this stiff kind of paper. What we'll do is so now I'll wrap this around, so we'll get our exact shape. Around here. Let's go from. Might as well go from the very end of this paper, actually. Make it the whole width. Height-wise, we're going to come up to, I'd say, might as well make it the height of this thing as well, all the way across. Okay, so now we've got our shape. So if I was to open this out now, we can see that it's kind of like a line that comes in. It's not straight down. We'll just follow it around. So we'll cut this out, and then we'll put it over our flat steel. There. Doesn't have to be exact. And we'll just go a little bit over what we need. Back on. We should have about the right shape that we need steel wise. Now we've also, so when we mark this out onto our sheet metal, we've got to come out to probably a 4 or 5 mil out this way, because we've got to roll that back over, and same with the underneath. So we'll just add some extra there for this end and the bottom. So that's it. Alright, so we've got our patch panel in place here. Had to readjust the line. I went too high up, so we brought it further down so we've got more wraparound room down the bottom. So before we do anything else, we're going to mark with a textile on the underside, mark a line where the boot lid finishes, so we know exactly where to crease it over. Because we're going to have to cut small, just very light grooves in here to bend them over. It makes it so much easier when you're bending it all over. So we'll do that now, and then we'll cut the piece of boot lid out. Okay, so we'll just slowly pick up this piece we've just cut. Just work your way back and forth. Here it comes. You can probably might grab it with your fingers. Just bring it in and out till it falls off. Where's your gloves? Other glove. Nice and slow, 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 slow. Might need to do some more grinding here. Okay, just hang on a sec. Oh, you got it? Yeah, keep going. There's a moulding retainer clip. There's a screw on the other side, which will never get out in a million years. But will that come off, or is it just the screw now that's holding that on? Yeah, okay. So anyway, it's pretty much off. So we'll get the screw out the other side, and this little panel will come up. But you can see we've got to make. Now we've got access to in here. So we'll clean all this up, and we know now that we just need to make this part in here, and probably an end piece over here. We don't need to make the whole thing. Okay, let's get this off. Alright, so the patch panel has come off, and actually we'll flip this over again, but there we go. That's what we've got to work with. So we have to make pretty much this, I would say this whole section here. We'll just remake all of that. That's the first thing we'll do before we put our patch panel on the outside, and then we'll hit this with primer, make it all nice in there, and put our new piece over the top. So here we go. Now we're just going to cut this whole piece out of here, all the way across here, because we've got our two bits that we're going to remanufacture. So here we go. Fantastic. Okay, that's the cancer cut out. If only it's that easy, hey? And so this will end up going there, and then we have that little piece that we just made up there. If you can just grab that, Joel. That right up here. Yeah. So that'll go there like that. Then your piece that you got goes under it. Like that. Good. Alright, so we're making our second patch panel. We've already made a small one for the boot. This is for the this section here of near the dog leg in this door jamb, completely eaten out by rust on the inside. So what we did was we made a paper template first to cut to get the shape of what we need, and then we flattened that out and traced it around this sheet metal so we can get the right shape. Now we've just screwed it in. Now this is just how I do it. What I'm going to try and find or make in time will be a metal headed roller, so we can go in there and just roll these sorts of shapes in place. But we kind of got it, as you can see there with this here. So we're just going to drive another tech screw in there on that side. Okay, so that's probably, if you look down here, that's pulled the metal in to give it the right shape. That's the bottom there. So now what we'll do is a little magic marker and draw a line coming from under here, so we know where to cut the excess off. It starts up around there somewhere. There. Let's pull that off. I'll undo these screws. So now that the shape is formed, just means we have to put some spot welds in these holes where the holes are made. Okay, so that's where I marked at the bottom. So I'll probably go from about here around there. So that's the excess we're going to cut off. So we'll go on the outside of that. Okay, what we could even do right now is just to cut this out right now and put it under this part of the metal here and just trace it over the top. In fact, I think that's what we'll probably do. That'll be more accurate that way. So now we'll mark where we're going to cut the steel, because we were deciding before where we're going to chop it. So we're going to cut it across here, that's one spot. So across there, and we'll go to, probably go where the holes are, right across here. Because the metal's pretty good up there, we don't need to go that far. And we're only going this far because all of this is chewed out. So we've already got our sheet metal for this side. So we're going to make it in two pieces basically. So now let's cut this out. Went dull. Catch this. Okay, there we go. So we'll get this big piece off the top here. We were looking for spot welds on it, but there were no spot welds on that section. There we go. Twist that off. So we've got to make, once we get this out of the way, so we'll just bend that for now. So we've got to make this internal section in here.
It's all gone.
Yeah, so we'll fix all that. We'll see what this is like back here. We may have to cut further into this wheel arch to get to this area here. As you can see where the rust came from, the water got into here over time and just ran down the wheel arch and stayed there. So as you can see, we've taken this area off, and you can see in the wheel arch it's pretty rusty. Now it's most of it is pretty solid because I can't drive a screwdriver through it. So you can see that area is not good. So all of that's going to be redone. But I'm just getting a Y wheel in there now to clean it, see what we're going to work with. Torch, that's smart. Right, all good? Yep. Right, so you can see that this top section's good of the wheel arch, but the bottom part is just eaten through. So what we'll do is, once we get this part off, which we're going to do anyway, we're going to cut this off to make this will open up this whole area. So then we'll cut out this whole section down here, which we'll be able to get through from the back here. We'll just take this back wheel off. We'll be able to cut it through here and make that whole rear section with a big solid piece of metal. So that's what we're going to have to do. And you can see at the front here, as we're removing this forward piece that was rusted, it exposes the bracket that's inside the rocker panel. So that's why it's important you don't just cut through everything, because you've got brackets, support brackets like this all over the place. So that's what we're going to have to do next. we've got our bonnet off, and you can see there's quite a bit of rust coming through certain sections that we're going to remake. So we're going to get this back to bare metal as well. We're going to spray the underside, make that look nice too. So here's the underside of the bonnet, or the hood, whatever you want to call it. It's pretty much back to bare metal. So it's all good here, right up until you get to the front part, and it becomes Swiss cheese. So you can see how much we've got to cut out and remanufacture right at the front here. Pretty hard to get to. We ended up using a portable sandblaster and did this outdoors because it was just too hard to do any other way. So now we'll wash this off with vinegar water, and the next phase is we'll put the whole car in primer. So as you can see, we've got the car in etch primer. We're going to do the door jambs later, and that's mainly because we've got to do quite a bit of repair work down here, as you can see. Now, I did film the whole car getting done in etch primer, but unfortunately the phone that I filmed it on decided to implode, and so I've lost all that footage. But anyway, it's in primer. That includes the doors. We will be doing the insides of the doors later. We just did the outside first because we had this pretty much stripped back to metal, and just put etch primer on it so we can work on cutting out rust and things like that without worrying about the rest of it rusting over. So we've already started. We actually started on the boot lid, as you saw earlier. We still haven't made the full repairs yet on here, but that's coming. I've just started in the bottom corner of this jam here. As you can see, we've cut away. I've kept the original pieces here so that we can match this up with our new patch panels, because as you can see, it's got a slight curve going up in the center, and obviously it's curved around the side. Got to get this part right, otherwise the door won't shut. But so we've got the outer skin off in two pieces. There was a piece back here, which was basically this one, and that reveals the bit underneath, so that's all rotted out as well. This is on the inside of the rocker panel, so I'm going to have to make a new section here, and that part of the bottom section of the wheel well. Also the underneath of the rocker panel needs to be replaced in sections, and that will give me access to the inside of the rocker to clean it all up. I didn't want to have to replace the entire rocker, because I went through this with a Phillips head screwdriver and just punched the bottoms of it, and most of it's strong. It's only where the holes are that really needs fixing. Even there I couldn't really punch through with a screwdriver, but we will fix all that up. Obviously that's all started from here. So you had that trim going across here. The trim collects water, then this section starts rusting, and this metal here is fairly thin because it's not reinforced compared to this. So then the water just runs all the way down into the wheel arch. There's supposed to be drain holes down there. I'm not sure if they had them on these model Valiants from Genuine. But obviously the water and muck is pulled up in there, and then it all just starts rotting out in here, which has caused all of this. And it's the same on the other side, but this side's much worse. So this is where we're up to. So next series of videos is really going to be a lot of body work. Getting this sort of thing done. We've put the bonnet and the boot in primer on both sides. So you can see the front of the bonnet there. We've got to remanufacture almost the entire front section there where all those holes are. And this driver side rear wheel arch. So thinking about how I'm going to do this. As you can see from here to here, the structure of it is pretty good. Obviously it's rusty, so we're going to have to fix these areas. But from here to here, the shape of it is all there. So it's really basically from there to this section here. So we're probably going to do this in 2 or 3 pieces. And yeah, just basically shape the metal to this style here. Shouldn't be too hard to do. Unfortunately, I can't get behind there to knock it out because there's another piece of reinforced metal that prevents you from getting right behind this section here. So yeah, just going to have to really just cut this out, remanufacture it, mold it all back in.